Hi, Raoul. First of all,
Hi.
congratulations on winning the investor game that you joined last March. And thank you very much for making some time on the second Easter day for this interview. You helped the startup buddy a lot by participating in our user test event when we launched the investor game. And maybe good to know, 5 of the proposals that you had during the event we're already working on, and we hope to launch in 3 weeks or something from now. So we're really working on what you have told us and to make the platform better. So today we're going to do a quick interview to give people a little bit of insight in who you are and who the fund is that you're working for, No Such Ventures. And that's what mostly the questions are going to be about. So can you first tell us a little bit about the Dutch venture capital fund, No Such Ventures?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Robin, for the invite, both to the investor game and today. I actually enjoyed getting to know you and seeing what you guys have been up to, or what you and your team have been up to. It's really cool what you're doing, and interesting to see how you keep developing your platform. But coming back to No Such Ventures, we are an Amsterdam-based venture capital firm that is 2.5 years old, that is trying to do VC a bit in our own way. And this comes from Reinder and Bart, which founded the firm in late 2018. And they were a bit, let's say, trying to make it different, saying, okay, we don't want to be a passive fund. We want to make it our own way. Both of them had a fund background. It was like, okay, how can we make it such that we add value to both our investors and to entrepreneurs in a way that differentiates a little bit ourselves in this crowded market. And that's how No Such Ventures came about. We are a deal-by-deal firm, which means that we raise funds every time that we invest in a company, rather than investing from a pool of capital, which forces us, one, to do less investments, two, well, to be hyper convinced, because we cannot really spray our portfolio across and hope that there is a winner that will return the fund, but we have a duty towards our investors that to try to make, good, let's say, risk balance deals every single time. And at the same time, we're helping our entrepreneurs by giving them access to a huge network of investors that now is 150 people. Bear in mind, we started with 2 years ago, which help us to add value whenever the entrepreneurs need it, because we know that being generalist, well, doesn't make us experts in anything. Yet again, having behind you a huge network that can really help you and is engaged both in like actively and financially with your company gives a bit of an incentive to have that reach and really help you to work and grow your company.
Cool. And you already mentioned you're very specific in the companies that you invest in, and that it's deal by deal, without, of course, telling your secret sauce. But for the investors into your fund, the limited partners, what is like the specific strength of No Such Ventures to picking those deal by deal best companies?
Yeah, well, this is a good question. On one end, we think that we're giving access to an asset to investors that they didn't get access to. So there is this whole way of trying to democratize a little bit the venture capital space, which positions us a bit, in between a passive fund and a crowdfunding platform. Because on a crowdfunding platform, you're looking at small ticket sizes where investors spread a lot their investments, but they're not really in touch with the companies. On a fund, well, the LPs tend to be more passive, tend to be pension funds. So they are not really interested in being in touch with the companies. It's a diversified, let's say it's an alternative asset class where they're diversifying a little bit their holdings. For us, we're getting really active people that are passionate about growing companies, that significantly invest a portion of their capital that is, let's say, more or less important for them, because they can range from people that can do 50 deals to people that can do 10, let's say, or even 2. That really depends on the person itself. But yet again, it is people that has done a career, that has put some capital on the side, that is actively passionate about investing, and that can really add something to companies. So that's a little bit of what we say to like how it works with our limited partners and how it flows down as well to our investment in our portfolios. And next to it, well, what is good for them as well. And it's a part of what we consider one of our strengths is that we keep a very let's say value adding or hands-on to the point that the company wants it approach with our portfolio companies. So we try to always be there when they need help, and we try. And this in practice, it means that we are a very big team compared to the amount of companies we have. Right now, we are a team of 8, and we have only 4 investments. If you compare it with how it works in the industry right now, like it's probably we can get up to 8 investments in the next year or 2, but we're still going to be a team of 8, and eventually even we need to grow our team. So we want to keep a very good ratio of, say, investment managers or whoever, like investment professionals to the investment companies, because at the end of the day, our focus and our core belief is if we can help, then we can increase a little bit the chances a company has to do well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it answers really your question. But
yeah, definitely. Well, you already sort of answered my next question too. So you already said there's a big network that the companies you invest in can leverage on, and you have a big team that actually really supports the startups that you're working with. Is there maybe a third or a fourth other reason that if I were to get investors, I really should have no such ventures from an entrepreneur perspective?
Well, I think there are a multitude of reasons. We're nice people, down to earth. We don't really care. It's at the end, our goal is not to like we do this for passion. All of us are in it. I guess everybody is. So it's not really fair to say we're different because we do it for passion. Everybody really loves companies to do this job. I would assume so, or I hope so. But it's we really love doing what we do, and it's a bit of our dream. It's for me, it's a bit my dream of myself is if I can do something good and if I can finance people doing something good, knowing I cannot do it myself. And that's the whole reason why I'm an investor and I'm striving to be a good one. Is can I help people fulfill their ambitions, realize their dreams, make something good for the future that I cannot. It's a bit of a way of like, can I really do something for someone else? It's that act of giving that makes us a bit very human. I don't know if that's also something cool or not, but like at least I like to think about it this way, that we try to really be in their shoes, in the entrepreneur shoes. We ourselves try to understand, we try to add value, we try to be there whenever you need us. And on the financial side, obviously not having a mandate, what does it mean? Not being deal by deal, what does it mean? We can do literally anything. We can do primary, we can do secondary, we can do whatever you want. I mean, we do not have any strong restriction on anything. So for an entrepreneur that comes to us, we invest with them. They're like, oh, but I want to do a follow-on. Well, from us, you will never get the answer. Oh, my portion for the follow-on of the fund is over. I cannot finance you, or you have to wait a couple of years. For us, it's if we really like it, if we can do it again, if we can reinvest, well, it's the same process again. So there is no time pressure with regards to, you need to be in that window before my fund runs over to raise again, or all of these, kind of like, if you want, limitations that you would have from a financial standpoint by being a fund, by needing to abide to a mandate, do not apply to us. So it makes it a little bit easier in a way, because you might say that our conversion is worse because we tend to invest probably a lot less than other funds. But when we do, well, then we're really at the service of our entrepreneurs. And this really implies a 360 degree of opportunities, both for them, for us, due to our flexibility.
Can I sort of summarize it as you're a fund, but you have more the behavior of an angel investor? In the sense of flexibility?
Maybe in a way. I don't know if it's because we're still a professional investor, right?
Of course, yeah.
An angel is like, I don't know if we come at the same stage. It could be said. I'm not sure. I haven't thought about it yet in these terms. But what we say is what we differ with an angel is when you have you tend to have multiple angels in your cap table, right? With us, you might have super angels in the background, but you're gonna have one line.
Yeah.
And that one line is gonna manage your interactions. So it's not gonna be like, oh, tomorrow morning you have 5 of your angels calling you, hey, what happened? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, blah blah blah. It's more, we manage those interactions. if you need to talk to someone, we're gonna do it, and we are lean and mean into that. Like we behave really like a fund. So we all come from investment. We all have been in investment professionals before in different ways. I was in a large fund. Reinder was in a large fund. Bart was in a large fund. Liz and Sophie that just joined us were in funds as well. In different, let's say, in different stages as well. You know, Lisa was a venture builder. Sophie was at David, and then she was consulting. Reinder was at Kempen. I don't know if anyone seeing will has a bit of knowledge of the Dutch ecosystem. At Kempen was a big is the big boutique in the Netherlands. Is one of the main players. And after that, Wolvis was another VC. You know, everybody had a bit of a mix and blend of funds. So we don't have an angel, let's say, which they can be very professional, obviously. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but it's a bit of a different one.
Yeah, no, the only reason I was making the comparison is I usually tell entrepreneurs, well, an angel investor, if they like the idea, they can do whatever they like because it's their own money. Whereas with most funds, they most of the time operate based on a mandate. So if it doesn't fit the mandate, even if they like you, they will not invest. You're kind of in you're kind of in the middle, in the sense that you're saying, okay, we give a lot of support. We look deal by deal if we like it, if it looks good. And then as a fund, you have a lot of flexibility to actually decide to invest and how.
Yeah, very true. I think that's very true. Let's say the only thing maybe is that we invest in traction. So we don't invest in ideas.
Yeah.
We like to see some traction in our companies, and let's say we position ourselves more in that Series A. Well, you may call it whatever you want. I think it's so hard to define stages because they differ by geography as well in the venture capital world. But like in the Netherlands, we would be a Series A or late VC investment. Like we invest on traction, we invest on product market, like post product market fit. We invest on acceleration. So idea stage, not really us. No, we are not the right party because that's not where our strength lies. When it comes to helping the companies growing.
Okay, a little bit of a different direction. So you've seen a lot of companies already over time. Can you share a little bit about one or two startups that either you invested in or you didn't, but that really surprised you, that stuck in your brain, like this was the weirdest pitch I've ever seen, or this was the coolest idea I've ever seen, or what has surprised you over the years?
Yeah, well, over the years, well, I'm quite young still. I have a lot of surprises to get, to be honest. So there was one now that comes to mind, and this was more like I was mind blown. It wasn't the right fit for us because you know, the technology is very deep, and it was a deep tech company that was able to basically understand image sentiment through this kind of AI algorithm without looking at you on with a microphone or video. It was just by like benchmarking images and understanding shapes, colors, trends on social media. And let's say they were doing something that, I don't know, it's still kind of mind blowing for me that you can do this kind of stuff on the internet, that basically says, okay, if Robin wants to buy a pair of shoes and Raoul wants to buy a pair of shoes, I'm going to show them two different pictures on the same website, depending on which picture would make me more likely to buy. I think this is incredible. I think this is incredible. Like if you can really like kind of rank, it's at the end it comes down to a ranking algorithm. It seems that all good strong search or rank, like algorithms are ranking algorithms, either ranking SEO on Google or ranking products on Amazon. It comes down to how can I rank that depending on my search history, on my search preferences. And yeah, I thought that was really mind blowing that you could nudge people in that way. At the same time, it's still a question in my head, like if you get all these nudges left and right, at what point is there a lot of free will or not? But I guess that falls into a new type of questions as well. And there was that one I mentioned you a bit earlier, these parental control apps. These I'm a bit against, not against, but I don't want to believe in that future too much, where you can see your kids from your phone. You can see what your kid is sending to his friends and all. I don't know. Again, this is the tricky part with this job. That, well, most of the things it's quite straightforward. You're improving, optimizing, creating something new, and sometimes you face something that's like, okay, does it really fit my value system? How do I see that? Am I wrong in my value system? Even like, can I reevaluate myself, look at the mirror, and say, okay, what does it mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean to be an investment. It's just food for thought, and that's also the fun part. It allows you to think and imagine what you like and learn about yourself and the world as well.
Well, and what I can tell you from living in Asia, which is quite different from where you are at the moment in Europe, those values also differ a lot depending on where you are. I remember when I started this company, we spent a lot of time figuring out how we could make sure that we didn't have to ask people a lot of information, because as a European, that's very sensitive, sharing your personal information. And it turned out that actually here, people didn't mind that much as long as you were doing something that they liked. So something that worked here totally fine wouldn't have worked at all where I'm originally born. And as an investor, you have to like judge that all over the place also. So,
absolutely.
Nice
that's
example.
A cool one, by the way. Like,
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Like from your experience being cross-cultural, I think that's really cool that you had to face completely, a cultural change and have to understand the values. And there's a funny book called The Word Map. I highly suggest it, actually. I just finished it, from Erin Meyer. Really cool. That goes about how, like a scale on how cultures are and how to people, or like the relative difference of perception on different topics with regards to cultures. It is very interesting. Having lived in Hong Kong for a year myself, I learned a thing or two about Confucianism-based cultures that are very different in values compared to Southern European, like Italian and Dutch already is a word apart in many different ways.
We're gonna put the link under the video after this interview is done. Then everybody who is watching this can look it up and read it. Sounds very interesting.
It's super interesting.
So in March, you participated in a user test event that we did around the investor game that we recently launched on the Startup Buddy. I was just wondering, what was your experience of the event itself and also of trying to play the game?
I think it was interesting. I enjoyed it. Then, we talked about this during the event. I was very critical on the startups a bit, because I expect in a way that you need to put yourself in the shoes of someone that sees a lot of pitches, and it comes down to how can you spark the attention more than somebody else. And it's not like because you're not doing something good or you're doing something great, but unfortunately we have such a limited time, and it's super mutually exclusive all the time, that if you do not make it stand out in a, let's say, in an easy or less soft reading way, it's gonna hurt you a little bit. So I think it was good. The platform was interesting, was good. I think there is some work that you're still that you're doing there, but it could be very interesting, especially if you have that liquidity factor in there. And then I guess part of it is really who to target, who is the right investor to invest in this kind of platform. That's I don't know if that is an iteration. What is in a way you need to try. The experience was good. The startups were interesting. The couple conversations afterwards with a couple of the startups where we had interesting conversations. Also new for us to look more into Asia, which was not a market we looked at, and it's still a market we don't know much about. And I think, as you mentioned, right, you have to learn very much about the market to understand, okay, what is good in this market, what it fits with the consumers there or with the businesses there. I did enjoy the event, and I want to thank you for it, because the invitation was very nice from you, and I always like to help or to learn if I can from anyone. So.
And really I can thank you also on behalf of the startups who were there, because I heard some very enthusiastic feedback afterwards from like stuff that you told them that could help them build their company. So thank you for that also. We're sort of getting to the end of the interview. You shared a little bit about No Such Ventures, about yourself. And thanks again for joining the investor game last month. We actually plan to do these events more often because for us it was incredibly valuable to get this unpolished real-time feedback from people trying to figure out what we had come up with. Before we close this off, do you have a valuable personal life lesson or something that has helped you over time do your job or just live your life that anybody should know?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I know much more than anybody else. You know, I just try like everybody every day to find my balance and in a way that it's sustainable. And yeah, I focus on that. Can I make my time valuable here? Because kind of, I don't know, the thing I focus on every day, and I don't know how much of a lesson it is can you find a short-term satisfaction while creating something, you know, putting blocks together for the future. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but you know, I am not able to sacrifice, you know, being happy in the short term to say, yeah, in the future I'm gonna be maybe happy, but at the same time you want to be enough of long term that you can kind of balance that, which is the hardest thing. Okay, how can I be kind of happy all the time, but at the same time build it for the future, not live by the day? And it's always that I'm striving for. I don't know if I figured it out, and if anybody did, please teach me as well how to do it. But
well,
yeah.
I mean, people saying they have figured it out, I'm always a little bit suspicious about. But I think what you said at the start is a very good summary. Find your balance.
Yeah, find your balance.
Sounds like actually very good advice for almost anyone.
Yeah, well, please also teach me if you do, because I'm trying every day, and not every day works.
Okay, so on that note, thanks a lot again for making the time today to have a chat with me and share a little bit about yourself and about No Such Ventures. For everybody who's interested in figuring out what we were talking about in terms of the investor game, just join the startup buddy. It will be right there under your startup or your investor profile. Try it out and also let us know any feedback that you have. Oh, and I almost forgot, by the way, Raoul. I've talked to more investors since we did the event. You were not the only one with feedback on how it needs to work. So that's why we're already working on getting a lot of stuff fixed in the next cool. Iterations too. You were basically very much on point. So
thank you, and looking forward to the next event as well. I'll try to be there for sure as soon as there is one. So cool. I think it's soon, right?
We have another startup investor match event surrounding Indonesia. So there will be speakers from Indonesia. We have Indian Capital, which is a very big fund from Jakarta. People talking about the Indonesia startup ecosystem. And we have one of our companies pitch, and that will be on April 22nd.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much. And Robin, thank you for the invite. I always enjoy, and more I'm enjoying to getting to know you and chatting and learning about what you've been building. So, well, by the way, today I discovered that Robin is in 24 as well, for everybody seeing it.
But I'm not going to share how old.
No, don't say it.
It's okay. Okay, thank you very much, Raoul.
Thank you. Ciao.